Hello everyone. Welcome to London. Now I'll talk about faster root cause analysis with Grafana Cloud and the Knowledge Graph. My name is Cedric. I'm a product manager at Grafana Labs. With me is my friend and the VP of engineering, Manoj. And we're going to talk about the Knowledge Graph. All right, before we dive in, let's talk about the problem first. Right? What problem are we trying to solve? And I think it's pretty easy. It came across in the keynote. The problem is complexity. Right? Modern application development and deployment scenarios are just sheer complexity. You have Kubernetes, you have containers as a service, you have functions as a service, virtual machines, bare metal, dozens of programming languages, and containerization. That's a lot, right? And all of these living elements in your systems, they are emitting events or signals, data, logs, metrics, traces, profiles. And the challenge is that most of these signals, they just come in, and then they're kind of living in silos. It's hard to get the full picture of the full stack, right? And ultimately, this results in a disjointed experience for you, for your users, for the people that depend on the system, when it's critical to solve a problem for you and your business, right? Now that we understand the problem, and I think this is core to observability, we have so much data, let's talk about what we think could be the solution. A brief look back. Last year at ObservabilityCON, we announced the general availability of Asserts in Grafana Cloud. And up to that, Grafana Cloud was mostly visualization-centric. We had experiences that took your data, visualized it. We did our best to correlate and help you navigate your systems. But Asserts really leveled that up. It changed it big time, right? Asserts introduced a concept of proactive insights through the concept of assertions and a curated root cause analysis workflow that you could use to drive root cause analysis much, much faster than you were able to do that before. And Asserts created a graph across all of the layers, application, infrastructure, and it helps your users or helped your users to understand certain network effects between the two, how services communicate when they are in trouble, when the infrastructure needs some help. And for known object types, Asserts provided out-of-the-box UI, dashboards that were battle-proven, a curated experience to drive SLOs. But we didn't quite fully exploit the potential here. Asserts was a standalone product, and we treated it like that. With the Knowledge Graph, we're changing that, right? We're introducing the Grafana Cloud Knowledge Graph today. It's available in your Grafana Cloud instance today. You can go there and activate it. And Asserts is becoming the Knowledge Graph in Grafana Cloud. But, what is a Knowledge Graph even? Luckily, there is a definition, right? If you go by the book, then a Knowledge Graph is a network of connected entities and relationships that turns raw data into knowledge that is structured and meaningful. And that's exactly what the Knowledge Graph does, right? It takes the data that you send into Grafana Cloud and it transforms it into a graph and knowledge about health and performance to help you accelerate your workflows, help you solve your problems faster. So if you look at this diagram, it's actually pretty interesting because the Knowledge Graph is becoming a foundational building block in Grafana Cloud for every single product that we build, all of our opinionated solutions. It consumes data from all of the solutions. We have Kubernetes signals, we have OpenTelemetry signals for application observability, we have front-end signals from front-end observability, there are integrations in Alloy, we have cloud provider observability for data for all of your managed services that you're using, and the new kid on the block, which is database observability. We know the Knowledge Graph learns about databases now. And this way, the Knowledge Graph becomes aware of the distinct elements in your system, and it can infer what they are, and it can understand how they are connected, right? This way, it can understand how entities interact with each other. For example, how services communicate and how infrastructure is supporting your applications. And thanks to the graph and the KPIs, for example, read and use metrics, the graph can then derive insights about health and performance. Once the graph is built, we create a unified experience that is deeply connected all across Grafana Cloud Observability that leverages the derived insights and helps your users to explore their signals in context. And then, if you need it, you can drive root cause analysis. Why, I'm standing on stage. I'm obviously pretty hyped about the knowledge graph, but why should you care? I think there are three distinct elements here. First of all, it's the unified experience, right? The knowledge graph creates an experience for all of the discovered entities, and it makes them accessible through certain elements that are central. So you can go to the new entity catalog that is available in your instance now, and you can find the elements that you care about. Manoj showed on stage how you can see services, how you can explore your pods in Kubernetes, or your databases, managed services on AWS, all through a single unified interface, right? And you can understand the relationships between these things because there is a map, and we explicitly encourage you and allow you, and we want you to use the connectedness of the graph to traverse it, traverse from infrastructure to application, vice versa, to learn what is wrong with a thing that you care about. And then, once you're ready, you can start the root cause analysis, and it works across infrastructure and application layers. The knowledge graph also creates contextualized insights for you. It understands the entities that it's looking at, right? It understands what is important about an entity, what is important about a database, what does it mean when a certain metric goes up or down, right? It's not just a movement on a graph, it's also meaningful for you. And thanks to the knowledge that we have built into the knowledge graph, it understands when something is wrong, right? So it adds valuable breadcrumbs to your investigations. It understands entities and technologies that you're looking at. And it tells you when something is wrong, adding these breadcrumbs along your investigations. Lastly, the knowledge graph doesn't require you to completely rebuild your Grafana Cloud experience. You have invested time, money, and effort into building your Grafana Cloud experience. You have built dashboards, alerts, and all of that good stuff, right? And once you hooked up your custom thing into the knowledge graph, which you totally can, then it will live alongside the other entities in the system, and that makes it really sustainable and a useful evolution from where most of our customers are today. The graph is progressively enhanced the more data that it can discover. So in order to make the connection between infrastructure and application, obviously, you need both. But once you have it, we hope that we can make the connection for you. We can understand what are the Kubernetes pods that are powering your services. Let's talk about the unified experience for a second. One of these elements here is the consolidated entity catalog. I already talked about it, right? But it automatically discovers every entity in your system, every pod, every service, every front end. And these entities are accessible through the same UI that you can use. It highlights the most important KPIs from the get-go. We show you the red metrics that are important for your thing. Or if it's an infrastructure thing, we highlight you the use metrics for this thing. The entity catalog also understands how entities relate to each other, right? So for example, when a backend is causing issues in a front-end service. And once you're zoomed into a certain entity that you care about, the knowledge graph will highlight you the most relevant dashboard from its out-of-the-box catalog. From the example on screen, we have application observability with very prominent red metrics and a front-end observability dashboard for insights into the user layer, how your users are using your front ends. But born in the full-stack world, Knowledge Graph blends these different sources of data together, and you can look at traces for a service, navigate to a backing Kubernetes pod, or find out how the front end is doing. But how do you know the entities are healthy? Well, this brings us to proactive insights, and they are really at the core of the Knowledge Graph. We make insights available everywhere, always on, and continuously in Grafana Cloud Observability. Insights are specific observations about an entity and its behavior, right? Examples are issues with the user experience of front-end apps, garbage collection issues in a JVM, or an anomaly in the request pattern of an application service. With Knowledge Graph, users don't have to be the subject matter experts for every technology that's impacting the performance of what they care about. Knowledge Graph provides insights out of the box for a lot of different things. And once an organization adopts the Knowledge Graph, we're continuously deriving these insights for all the entities that we discover, and we surface them to you in a way that makes them easy to consume in the user experience. And thanks to these insights, Users will know at every level of the stack what impacts the performance and health of the entities that they care about. Insights can be used to drive SLOs and serve as breadcrumbs for your root cause analysis. And with our new shopping cart pattern, Manoj already showed it in the keynote, you can add more entities to your investigation while you're exploring the blast radius of a certain thing. Once you're ready, you can click the button and dive straight into root cause analysis workbench and drive the root cause analysis. The last bit that I want to highlight is augmenting your own knowledge. Right? Let's talk about that for a second. Organizations have built large bodies of knowledge for their monitoring estate. You all have invested time, money, and effort to making your Grafana experience unique and to surface what's important for your teams when they are working with it. And the knowledge graph makes it very easy to bring your own experience and tightly integrate it as knowledge into the graph. One example here is dashboards. You can hook up your own dashboards to any kind of entity, to any kind of scope, so that the aspects that you care about are front and center. The example here from our demo environment is a businessy dashboard that surfaces other KPIs than just performance-related criteria such as the red metrics. Right? You build these things out, and you want to make good use of them. And with Knowledge Graph, you can just tie this dashboard to an entity, and that sustains your investment and creates better context for your users. You can bring your own entities, right? Maybe you're observing something that nobody else is observing. That could be a custom message bus or a set of GPUs, for example. With Knowledge Graph, you can onboard these things as entities and model the relationships to other elements. How does it do it? Well, you just describe how the graph can discover the thing. You can describe how the KPIs are modeled as metrics. And then the graph will do its thing and hook it up to the rest of the experience. The knowledge graph does the heavy lifting for you and then integrates these entities into the catalog. You can also bring your own alerts as insights into the system, right? Organizations have invested huge amounts of work into creating the right alerts for the right thing, right? Once something is hooked up to the graph, insights become important. What you see on screen here is you can add a few annotations to your existing alerts, and then the knowledge graph will surface these as insights in the whole system. So something that only you know about, a certain anomaly that you have codified as an alert, is now available to everyone that is using the system. But that was a lot of talk. Let me hand it over to Manoj for a demo.
Thank you, Cedric. OK, I've been playing with the demo here. It's all working. Nice. Let's do it. OK, I will actually go out of this thing, and I will go to my favorite place in the world. It's called Slack. OK, so I guess this is where we live, and it's generally pretty noisy. So I guess a lot of the stuff that Cedric was talking about, right? You know, this insights, I mean, the idea of SLOs and insights, I mean, they've been around since the Google guys wrote this SRE book, right? The main theme here is that do not turn off your, like this, all these insights are really your breadcrumbs to figure out what the real deal is, right? Why is this problem happening? So I'm going to start with the complete troubleshooting here, right? So I got an alert here called initiate checkout, user action, latency high. And I mean, naturally, I want to look at my front-end observability. Like, you know, you guys are probably using Pharo. So if you don't, just start using it. It's pretty cool. And then, so this is the new kid in the block too in the user Pharo world actions. So what's the user action? I mean, it's literally like a milestone, right? Like you have all your web pages and they're already tracking. But user action is literally you say that, OK, I want to track these key milestones in my front-end journey. So I have initiate checkout and all those different actions here. And then one of them is having a high latency issue. My user action is taking about one second here, right? And there's some JavaScript errors happening, which I do not know if it's really the cause or not. But then I also can quickly look at my HTTP overview. This is the newest feature also in the Pharo world. I can see my request rate is kind of dropping, and my latency is rising up, right? OK, so that seems like some trouble here. And we kind of took the idea of the insights, right? So the system has automatically identified, like the alert that we saw there, that's tagged this insights button. You will find everywhere to every solution in Grafana Cloud, right? So quick tip, OK, let's just go and figure it out, dude. So I'm going to say, OK, open the RCA workbench for doing this, right? So let's just quickly walk through it, what exactly this insight thing is, right? By just looking at this specific alert here. So, so as I expand here, I can see that, so I mean, in the world of alerting, right, it's been a big trouble. What should be my threshold, right? It's like this question that nobody has answer to. Well, the answer is in math and statistics, I believe. So we literally take the data and compute a P75 last over time, I mean, quantile over time, over 7 days, figure out, OK, this is where it generally trends. You can see that this, I definitely did invent 611.6 as my threshold. Trust me, I didn't write that. It's dynamically, it's generating, it's constantly evolving. Your system gets better, it'll come down. Your system gets worse, it'll rise up, right? We're looking over 7 days, so that's a pretty long time to make it stable. So yeah, so I have a for clause here saying for 10 minutes, this goes bad, wake me up, dude, and interrupt me. So I've done that. So this is showing up. That's the idea of an insight, right? You don't write all those alerts. This is the boring work, right? Just leave it to the front-end observability to take care of that. So and then I want to ask, like, OK, what should I look at, right? I'm like kind of in a bind here. So let me ask the graph, go walk the graph and find out what are the causes, right? And we're doing that earlier today. So when I did that, it actually brought in a bunch of other services, like everything that is connected to the front-end observability. So it kind of walked the graph on multiple levels. It has it looks for different patterns. Come and meet us, expert booth will walk you through like how does it decide what to bring, right? But yeah, so I mean, TLDR, like there's a lot of microservices that my architecture is built off. This is the OpenTelemetry app. I do have a database, the new kid that I was talking about earlier. And yeah, they're all connected, so it brought it in. But let's just talk about the augmenting the knowledge part of it, right? Because that's really key here. So as I want to zoom into the beginning of this incident, right? Because that's how did it happen. So there is a feature flag service. I'm going to switch to the summary view here, which is kind of like flattens the tree. It's like a tree structure we have here. So there is a feature flag state change that it tracked. Now, how the hell the Grafana team knows about a feature flag service that I'm running, right? They don't. That's the answer is very simple. And so this is literally like bring your own knowledge, right? So I'm going to quickly kind of show you here. So there is literally a rule that we have. It's like bring your own wine to a restaurant, so bring your own rules. So we have a rule here that says that I have a bunch of rules that I've brought in here. And one of them is saying that, OK, I want to track a feature flag state change, that I have a service. And when it happens, show me this value, this metric, right? This is the value of the feature flag, and I want to see that. And this is a classic alert you probably had in the system, but then you added a few extra labels to it. So now this is part of the workbench. Literally, you can open user API or UI, whatever it is you wish to bring your own knowledge into the system. And similarly with the graph and everything else. But let's go back to the workbench here, back to previous. So yeah, so we were in the workbench. We looked at the feature flag state change. And now I will look at, like, we talked about building dashboards. So if I open it here, and this is not a classic red metric service, right? So I want to see the graph that is literally showing a custom dashboard here that we have plugged in again through the bring your own knowledge here. So now I'm looking at this data. This is interesting. I'm seeing my checkout service again, like a dynamically figured out, like a bunch of reset sessions happening to SQL. Obviously, we manufacture to invite the new kid to the town. We are causing trouble in database world. And checkout services are having trouble. There are multiple checkout services in different regions of the world. And then as I scroll down here, I do see my database service. But what if I want to see, like, where is the most problem, right? So let me just sort by score. I kind of personally like this view where it sorts by, think of like a severity score, right? Which services are having most problem. Obviously, the front end is having a lot of problems. But then the recommendation service is also at the very top. And we have the database here. So I want to take a look at the database. So let's just do a deeper drill down, right? At the database observability here, what it is doing is it's pulled out my CloudWatch metric, like we talked earlier. It's showing how the CPU spiked up to almost 100%. And I mean, is it a read issue, write issue? What's causing the trouble? I can see the read throughput is high here. I want to now go into this is the classic metric view, right? Like of integration, right? Which was there. But what we did is the graph now knows that, okay, who is it talking to, right? I mean, there are two things you can do. You can literally look at who are the services even using this database. Like the graph is telling you what it is. But I'm more interested in deep diving into the query part. So I'll go to the orders DB here. Now, this is where it's showing me the word sequels in the system, right? And it's like sorting by the wait events, but I am looking for the word query by duration. So I'm going to sort by duration here and bring the query that comes at the top, right? Clicking over 55 seconds. That's really bad. Okay. So let's just zoom in. And did we run out of time? Not yet, right? No, I'm in time. Okay. So yeah, so this is like the full view of database observability. Like how this specific query, looking at the duration, the red metrics, the wait events, the how many, what's like all the stats here. But I'm going to dive into the query samples, right? Like this is the classic exemplar view, right? So we are capturing some of the words query examples here. I'm going to pick one here and then start diving into it, and trust me, I'm not a SQL expert at all by any standards. But I'm going to pretend one for a moment, and let's see how much of Grafana and AI can help me here. So this is the big SQL that it is firing. I have no idea what it is doing and why is it doing so much stuff here. So it's taking a lot of time. Okay, so let me ask our assistant to optimize this query, right? And it's going to take some time, so I'm going to leave it to it. I will come back to look at like, okay, what else it can do? Oh, explain plan. I understand explain plan. Okay, so explain plan is like this. Yeah, let me explain you what are you doing here, right? So you can already see a lot of table scans happening. Like I mean, just the depth of information available with this tool now. You literally, if you go look at the exporters, like the classic open Grafana Cloud, right? We have put in the MySQL exporter now enhanced to capture all the data I'm showing you sitting in open source. You guys can go take a look and install it today. And then once it comes to the cloud, we have all this data fully visualized for you, right? So looking at the explain plan, and I can go back to the AI helper to see that, oh, wow, okay, it's already come back here, asking me that I should build a composite index on product ID, order ID, because I'm doing a query that goes across the two columns, and obviously looks like I don't have an index, and I give a bunch of other recommendations, right? So yeah, no, that is all exciting stuff, and I want to go back to the workbench here, and then should I call it a win already yet? Did we figure out the problem?
I think we found the root cause, right? I think that's it. The database query, that was it, and the AI integration helped Manoj, who's not a SQL expert, to create an optimized version of the query, right? And
yeah.
I can now go in and I can change the query in my app, and that should resolve the performance problem.
But
yeah,
there is something else. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go back to the slides for 1 second. So to recap the demo, what we just saw was Manoj started in the front end. There was an issue that was user-facing. A part of a critical journey did not complete successfully. He then transitioned seamlessly into the root cause analysis workbench, found a correlated database entity through the database integration with the knowledge graph. And then in database observability, which is brand spanking new, it's in public preview, it's awesome, he was able to find the exact query that was causing the issue, right? That is an end-to-end flow that Manoj as a user can execute. But hey, there is one more thing that we want to highlight here, right? That's a human doing this thing, and actually still a lot of workflow to execute. So what if Grafana Assistant could drive the investigation for you, Manoj? Do you think it can do that? I think it can, right? I think Grafana Assistant is here to not just empower users, but also co-pilots like Grafana Assistant. And it can use the same context, insights, and relationships between stuff in your system as the user, and it autonomously explore the graph and drive root cause analysis for you. Should we show it?
Yeah, let's do it. And so switching back to my laptop here. Okay, we'll start from the exact same place, right? And this time I want to enjoy my coffee on my top sofa, right? So I'm going to launch the RCA Workbench straight because I've built confidence in the product already. I just want to go to RCA Workbench. Okay, I mean, this is where I will just ask the assistant, dude, just tell me what's going on. That's it, right? And we have, like we were speaking earlier, we basically fed the graph information into the LLMs as tools. We wrote a system prompt, gave it all the tools, go browse the graph, go find logs and traces and health signals, everything that we provided, right? Whether it's insights that is shipping by us or insights that you guys can bring on board, right? So it's actually doing it in real time, like as we speak, and let's see how long it takes. And before I think we have still a little more time, and let's see what it comes back with. But I mean, if you think about it, right, it's like we are constantly enhancing this with all the data that you are going to Grafana Cloud, right? Like your previous alerts. I was just talking to Lalit, who is from BMW, somewhere in the crowd. Like you can provide your runbooks, as rules to the system. So when this guy comes back with analysis here, it can even possibly execute the runbook for you, right? I am going to see that if it's, oh yeah, it did come back. Thank you, assistant. And like LLMs, it every time comes out with a new output, so I have no idea what it's going to say. Actually, I know because I have given it the context. So let's see. So it's actually saying that the browser, it's initiated the checkout of the cart page and request elevated duration, service calls. Oh yeah, it did find my database queries. So if you remember, I have not pulled the databases and everything to the workbench. Basically we have given it as LLM calls. It's just making tool calls behind the scenes, and to figure out all this insights, right? And it, as I scroll down, oh yeah, it's even suggesting what should I do next, So this is where we have not gone full agentic. Dima was talking about investigations plus knowledge graph. I think is going to do something wonderful here for us very soon. But you can ask it to, okay, either you can just type it or you can say, check all the entity health or analyze the checkout latency or so it's basically just assert on all this data that you have. And I did that literally, I think earlier today morning, an investigation, right? So yeah, so today morning at 6:45 a.m. I was awake early to make sure the LLM is going to behave today with me. So yeah, you can see here, it's actually, when I ask this thing, it goes and makes all the tool calls, right? It builds a plan, it makes all the tool calls. It's then comes with different multiple hypotheses of what are the possible causes of it, provides a sequence diagram. So if I'm the new engineer who just joined your company, I think this is just rocket fuel for me, right? To come into and become, like your experts are giving the knowledge, and my engineers can now become experts in my current system very quickly and learn from it, and then start making good suggestions on how we should be fixing it. Because when I asked it to, earlier we saw the bad SQL, now I do have traces. Sean, I don't know, still there, loves his traces. He wants to look at the query from the trace side, otherwise he doesn't trust it. So we asked it, okay, can you analyze the trace and find me the bad SQL? It actually did, right? So it wrote this hairy TempoQL. I have no idea how to write TempoQL. I only know PromQL. But it does like search in the tempo tabs. It wrote a TempoQL by duration, everything else, and found out all the bad traces, and then went on and found the bad SQL. Yeah. So anyway, TLDR, it's the database observability will also become a tool to this product. We will combine all this intelligence and bring it all to you. Thank you.
Awesome. One more time back to the slides, please. That is a fantastic moment. Thank you, Manoj. I think it's a great example, the knowledge graph, and how we integrate it with Grafana Assistant, how we are simplifying complexity in Grafana Cloud for our users. We literally took data that was disparate, joined it up in the knowledge graph, and then joined in Grafana Assistant to make the root cause analysis even easier, more accessible to everyone. And that's our pitch. The best thing about this is the knowledge graph is available to all Grafana Cloud users and customers today, even the free tiers, holding up to our promise of an actual, useful, free plan, and we can't wait for you to use it and provide feedback to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.